Hi, welcome to My Guy Reviews. I'm My Guy Wig, My Guy Monkey, and I'm here with My Guy Brig.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello. And then, as usual, we pick a topic from your suggestions or things that are topical. Could be movies, could be video games. So far, it's been movies, though.
Yeah, we still need to divest a little.
You never know. It could be books this week, and we have a chat about those things. Usually covering several of those things in media. Then we have a second segment where we'll give some mini reviews of things we've seen or done recently, and finally previews of what's coming up. So yeah, as always, one of us comes in blind with the topic, that is, and one of us brings the topic to that person. So this week I've got the topic, and my guy Brig has it completely blind, doesn't know what's going on. And
I think even when you bring the topic, you have no idea what's going on. So I think we're on the same page.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah? You're around?
I'm ready.
See what comes up.
Shall I guess now?
Are you going to guess now?
I don't know. Should I guess now? I'm allowed.
Do you want to guess now? Do you want to ruin it, or do you want to wait for a little bit?
I have no idea. I was just going to guess something random. For sure. Okay. Give me the best clues. Let's see.
Okay. So my clues this week. Okay. So in his first movie, his character dies after the first scene.
Ooh. Okay.
So got it yet?
His character dies at the very first scene.
After the first scene.
After the first scene.
He's shot by police off screen.
Okay.
Okay, next clue. His probably biggest role in a getting was a schizophrenic criminal rapist on the run.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Getting closer to it.
Steve Buscemi?
No.
He was in Con Air.
Good try.
He was kind of a schizo.
That was a good try. I mean, his name may come up later, but let's get to the next clue.
Okay.
Last time a film was in my local Cineworld in the UK was 2012.
2012. So this chap starred in a film in 2012 and nothing since.
Last time his film was in my Cineworld was 2012. It
in York.
A bit.
So he may have done indie films since then.
But he, okay, well, he did do another film after that, but it was pulled from Cineworld, which might be a big clue if you remember that. Or Cineworld didn't show it, which caused me a load of hassle. His last movie. Getting closer?
No, I'm still trying to. I was going to say Jim Carrey, because was it? Because I was thinking Kick-Ass 2, but then there was a film famously pulled from half the cinemas in this country, and I can't remember what it was. Okay, so it's not Jim Carrey. No,
not Jim Carrey. Next clue. He's not exactly known as an actor. So everything I've said so far may be throwing you off about his acting.
About his acting. But he starred in a film which he died in the very first scene.
Well, he was in a film, his very first film, which was an independent film. He died after the first scene.
After the first scene.
He only had one scene of dialogue and stuff.
Okay. But he was in a film in 2012.
In which he talked about Madonna, I think, in that first scene.
Okay. No idea.
Okay. You could say his films are almost always genre films that cover crime, revenge, and westerns.
Okay. That doesn't really help, I guess.
But not known for his acting. He's more of a director.
Okay, so he's a director, but he starred in a couple of films.
Well,
One of his films.
His very first movie was an independent movie, which is recognised by some as the greatest.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yes, there we go. You got it.
Yes, he did star in. He starred in Reservoir Dogs. This is his first film.
He was in Reservoir Dogs. Yes.
He was his biggest and most famous, successful film in starring. You're right. Is from Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn. Yes, as the schizophrenic criminal on the run.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. There we go.
And his film got pulled. What, Hateful Eight got pulled?
Yeah, Hateful Eight. Obviously, we'll get there because that's his 8th film.
Okay.
But yeah,
skip the end of it.
Yeah, his film was pulled because he gave the exclusive rights to the first showing to Odeon, and Cineworld got a hit about it because, they didn't get to show it, which made it a bit of a pain for everyone else that wanted to watch it. But there we go.
So we're talking Quentin Tarantino, the actor.
Yeah. So we're talking
Quentin Tarantino,
the director, the writer-director. His main 8 movies. I know it's a big topic, really. I mean, this is a big hitter one, really. Like, who is one of the I'd say most renowned directors and actors of the last 20 years?
I won't say actors. Definitely directors.
Writer and director, yes. Definitely not actor.
Definitely not. He has a really good scene in Desperado. Have you seen that bit where he walks into the bar, tells a joke about a guy who walks into a bar?
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that in ages. Yeah,
that's really funny. Well, I thought it was funny when I heard it.
Okay, I need to rewatch that.
So he walks into the bar, and the joke goes, he's talking to the bartender, and he's saying, "Oh, there's this guy. He was playing pool, and he said, you know what? I can wee from here into any cup like 20 feet away or something." And so the guy goes, no, there's no way. So he goes, I bet you $10 that I will be able to stand on the bar and I'll, wee all the way down there. And so the bartender takes him up on this bet. And what he then does, he just wees all over the bar, all over the bartender, everywhere. And the guy's laughing and he's got wee dripping down. And he goes, here's $10. He went back to where he was playing pool, and the guys were like, they handed over more money to him. And he said, basically, the bet was he can go to the bar and piss all over the bartender, all over his bar, and have him laughing for $100.
And not get thrown out.
And not get thrown out, yeah.
Really?
Oh, I butchered that completely, but that was so funny when I heard him say it, yeah.
I was following it, so, everyone else is fine.
I know, everyone else is like,
that was good. That's good. So, are you excited to be talking about Tarantino?
Oh, I love Tarantino. Yeah,
me too. It's amazing.
I think he's made some great films. I think, and then he makes them so sparsely as well. So you don't get oversaturated. He takes his time.
Yeah, certainly.
And he makes a new film. Yeah, I love it.
He takes his time to make masterpieces.
Yes.
Every time. Yeah. So his movie started with Reservoir Dogs. Should we get on with that, or?
Yeah, let's get on with Reservoir Dogs. Did he play Mr. Pink?
He played Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown
Pink was good. The guy you said earlier. What's his name?
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi. Yeah, that's the one. I love Steve Buscemi.
Such a good star cast as well.
Yeah. I mean, they've got Steve Buscemi is the best, obviously, from
Harvey Keitel's in there.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel, who was in Taxi Driver and Mean Streets before that. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Quentin Tarantino. Straight away, he gets all the big stars in. I mean, these aren't the biggest stars. Obviously, this is his first film, is an independent film. So obviously, he's getting who he can at the time, but he just gets bigger and bigger stars as he gets along. Yeah, so what's the plot?
Reservoir Dogs. I think I spoke about this last week, right? I watched it when I was young. I didn't enjoy it. I watched it years later.
While I was still preparing.
Yeah. So this one, from what I remember, there is about 6 of them, and they're going to do a heist.
That's right.
You never really see the heist, but it's shot non-linear as well. So, and one of them, you find out later on, had infiltrated the gang, and he was actually an undercover police officer. And it's all about the heist and them all kind of dying off screen, except for kind of the guy who gets his ear chopped off in the warehouse bit.
That's it.
And that's all I remember of it. But it's really good.
Yes, that's pretty much spot on. That's the whole story. Obviously, the heist is a jewelry heist, and it goes very wrong. They know that someone, or they reckon that someone has given them away, and most of the movie is their sort of paranoia and trying to figure out trying to find out from the police officer that they kidnap to torture, and find out who did it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the movie at the time?
So I watched this film twice in two different age groups. So when it first came out, I was young, and I watched it, and I was like, I didn't enjoy it. I think because it's more, this is one of those films where it's all about telling us what happened and not showing us. And being a young kid, you kind of just up until that point, you've always been shown stuff. So to follow a narrative that in that manner, I wasn't used to. And the fact that it's not a linear film, I didn't appreciate how you know the acting and everything was so good. And then I think when I watched it as a grown up, I loved it. I think but I watched this one after I'd watched his next film, and then looking back at this, I was like, wow, this was so good. And especially as a first film, the quality of actors around him as well, because I think even to get like Harvey Keitel, Steve Buscemi, they're still well known. They're character actors, but they're Madsen's in here as well, I think. So he's got a good group of people, all good actors. And that scene in the cafe where they all just sat around in these black suits and just talking, stuff like that. His dialogue was just on point. It was just amazing.
That's something that goes through all of his films, really, isn't it? It's just chatting. The fact that you can have scenes where people just talk about other stuff that seems irrelevant, but you get to know the characters just by them chatting. Yeah, I love that, and the fact that all the violence, well, the whole heist just happens off screen. You're right. I mean, that's kind of like, bucked a trend there. I mean, apparently he originally wanted to write the best heist movie to start with. That was his plan, from what I've read before. And then he doesn't actually show the heist. It sort of changed course apparently as the writing went on. And you're right. When I first heard of this movie, it was a big cult hit straight away.
Yeah.
I was, it was in the 90s. I was old enough to understand and enjoy cult movies, but I mean, I was a bit younger than you, so I don't know why I liked it more. But at the same time, it didn't blow me away as much as the next movie, like you say. It was the next movie that really did it for me. But at the same time, this is a good movie.
It's a great film, yeah.
All about dialogue and keeping you on your toes with who's done what. Until we find out finally who the undercover cop is. Spoilers, and then seeing Harvey Keitel sort of defend him, even though we now know he's the cop.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
It's heartbreaking because
in the warehouse bit, yeah.
Because he's really got to know him over the past hour or something, and he feels for him, and it's like, oh, he's dying. You just leave him alone. He's just a boy. And then for everyone to die because of that, it's just quite sad, really.
It's a clever movie. I think in terms of, you're right. It was a heist film. When you start to show heist films, you got to show kind of like a bigger kind of expensive kind of sets. You got to have them going in, stealing stuff, and then that whole like the start of The Dark Knight. It's a heist. That's incredible, but that must have cost. That must be quite expensive. Even Baby Driver has heists, but the driving is incredible. So when you've got a limited budget, what he did was he told and not showed in a way you could still follow that a heist has happened, when it happened, and all of the plans that led to that before, and then the aftermath and what happened when it went wrong, without actually showing the main bit. I think that was incredible. Now looking back at it, it's amazing.
Well, let's have a look at how much money it made. Though it only made 2.8 million in the US. Obviously, it was a very small movie, off a budget of 1.2 million. So it did make its money back, but it didn't get a worldwide showing in cinemas. So I guess we all saw it on DVD or TV back in the day.
Yeah, so I imagine DVD sales would have been really strong, or VHS sales of this would have just kept it going for ages, because it's a cult following. People must just keep buying it. Every few years you'd just have spikes. So imagine it generated a ton of money on kind of Blu-ray and DVDs or whatever format people purchased it on, or even video rentals. Blockbuster stuff like that. They must have generated enough money.
Blockbuster, they existed back then, didn't they?
Yeah,
it wasn't Netflix.
Before Netflix, yeah. Or Love Film, as it was called at one point.
Oh yes, Love Film. I remember that. I had a free subscription of that for a while. That was good. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, 94% user rating.
Oh yeah, very fresh.
Not bad. Very fresh. So in between that and his next movie,
should we give it our rating then?
Do you want to rate it? Okay.
We still have to, don't we? So we've got I've got a four kind of thing rating. You've got a star system. I mean, this isn't in cinema anymore, but as a grown adult, if you haven't seen this, go out and get it. So if it was, I would give it the full cinema experience.
Yeah.
If you're slightly younger and you're not a grown adult, watch it on video or DVD or video on demand, whatever, pay for it in a way. It's one of those films that was so good. And I'm glad you got other films off of that more people should should watch it. It's good.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's worth watch. 4 stars simply straight away. It does look a little bit aged now because it was an independent film, but I'd love to see them put it back in the cinema again, which I'm sure they would do at some point if possible, because just Tarantino is a legend. So okay, so next film up, Pulp Fiction. But before he did that, he actually wrote part of the script for. No, before that, as True Romance and Natural Born Killers.
Of course he did, so, yeah.
Oliver Stone's
Natural Born Killers.
I don't want to go fully
Tony
into
Scott.
it, but if you've got anything to say about those movies.
I mean, Tony Scott's True Romance has an incredible ensemble cast. You had Brad Pitt in there, Samuel Jackson, Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, just loads and loads of famous people. You'll see them throughout the film. I think it was a really, really good film.
It's a good choice. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and as for Natural Born Killers, the Woody Harrelson film, that was actually at that time, I think everyone said it's quite controversial. It's based on a true story, and the things that they kind of show on there. But if you really, I think there wasn't films like that. But if you watch the news, things like that were happening anyway in the real world.
Yeah.
So it was just purely because it was brought to cinema, and people were like, oh no, this is really ultra violent. This is controversial because of these reasons. When those things existed, they just made a film about them. But it was a good film as well. It was a good, solid film, and I think both. But of course, you give it to good directors. You give his story to good directors, and they produce something even better as well. So it's kind of both hand in hand. And I think the fact that he's now doing his own stuff, is even better because those. Can you imagine like Quentin Tarantino doing True Romance? It would have been incredible as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think True Romance, when I watched it, it's got you can see it's a good movie and it's got good writing, and it is good overall. But I always had that feeling that somewhere, some point in the story, it would have been a little bit more stylish and a little bit more impactful if it was directed by Tarantino himself. But apart from that, it's a good film, yeah. But the big hitter, Pulp Fiction, 1994. What's the story?
So this is about two brothers played by Samuel Jackson and John Travolta. This film again is a non-linear film. The actual starting of the film is the cafe bit, which happens at the end, which has Tim Roth and his girlfriend in the cafe trying to steal money from behind the till. And that happens at the start. Then the film kind of is trying to get a suitcase, and the suitcase has got something, and it stars Michael Duncan Clark, I think it is, and he's a black guy. And then there's a boxer who is supposed to take a dive, played by Bruce Willis, and he doesn't take a dive, and so
he take a dive.
He tried to he made a good film, and so they put out a hit on him. And in doing so, he actually because Samuel L. wants to get out of the game. No, Travolta wants to get out of the game, and he's like, I want to get out.
No, I think you're right, Samuel. It was Samuel.
Was it Samuel?
Yeah.
And I think what's clever is what I didn't notice until kind of the end is their clothes changed, and then they explain that there's the bit in the car and the gun goes off, and they change clothes because Harvey Keitel gives them a new set of clothes. But that because of the way the film flows. I didn't pick up on that the first time. It wasn't
you don't
until I
know
saw the
why
Harvey.
they've changed clothes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I loved all that kind of stuff. And then there's the bit where Bruce Willis and Diamond Dog get caught by that guy, and he puts him in the basement. And he's about to do some stuff and that. But yeah, you know what? It's just an incredible film. There's the Uma Thurman, John Travolta dance, which has been parodied so many times. You would have seen it if you've never seen this film. There's even the bit where he puts the injection in her. That's again something that's been parodied loads. So many things that have come out of this film that just have kind of transcended the film and become more pop culture. Even the cheeseburger conversation that he has, even the bit where he's reciting the Bible, Samuel L.
Yeah.
All that stuff has just become pop cultured references throughout history. This film was, it's just incredible, right? It's not just the film; it's transcended the film. It's just
absolutely.
it's gone everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, with that fake Bible quote that some people think was a fully real Bible quote, and only actually the end was a real quote, but at least part of it was a real quote from the Bible. It's interesting as well. And yeah, the Royale with cheese. I actually went to Paris last year for the first time, and the one thing on my mind was buying a Royale with cheese in Paris, in France. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to go into a was it a McDonald's or Burger King? Yeah, but McDonald's. Going to McDonald's and buy a Royale with cheese, and I've still got the receipt for that. Yeah. But yeah, this film seems to have a lot of storylines going on at once. Though it is quite hard to pin down an actual plot. It's just a lot of different things happening. It's the way it's done by just cutting backwards and forwards between different timelines and stuff. It's just amazing.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I think this is a film I watched when I was a bit older, so I appreciated this, and then went back to Reservoir Dogs and realized how good filmmaking actually is because of this. And I love the non-linear filmmaking that he did in this. I guess I hadn't seen that many films, so I hadn't really seen Memento yet, and films where they did that kind of non-linear kind of storytelling, which we see quite a lot now, like 500 Days of Summer and stuff. But
yeah, he seems to have brought it to the front, doesn't he?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
the one that pioneered it.
Definitely. And when you think about star cast as well, like for his second film, and still very small budget, you got Bruce Willis, who was still in the Die Hard game. Yeah, John Travolta, making a comeback. Samuel L. Jackson, again, Harvey Keitel, Michael Duncan Clark, Uma Thurman. And it's such a tight, small budget film, but it made, was it 200 million worldwide or something? It's a huge boxer. One of the most highest grossing independent films of all time or something. This film was incredible.
Yeah, it's had 213.9 million in worldwide. Yeah. It's and as you say, he's definitely known now for bringing old actors or previously famous actors back to the forefront.
Yeah.
John Travolta back from the brink of the Look Who's Talking movies and Grease, and put him in the form of a gangster. I mean, that's just amazing.
Exactly.
And then it's the perfect casting.
Then he could do Face Off after this.
Yeah, and loads of other poor movies. I mean, Face Off is okay, but
Face Off was great.
I don't think John Travolta has the best eye for movies when it comes to.
No, he's got a bad track record. Yeah, doesn't he?
But he has got a few good movies. But even Samuel L. Jackson, the most notable part before that for him, apart from True Romance, was Jurassic Park.
Jungle Fever.
Well, okay. But he's not much to me, basically. He wasn't much.
He wasn't much to you. Coming to America, where he storms the...
Yeah.
I don't know if that was before or after, but I always remember he came into the McDonald's, as you would just say, remember? With Eddie Murphy, who was behind the counter.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not a massive role. He did.
Yes, he's definitely brought a lot of actors back. And, of course, Uma Thurman wasn't much before that either.
No.
Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin was about the only role I knew of for Uma Thurman at that point. One thing I really love is the use of MacGuffins as well, this movie. So you've got the briefcase that you never see what's inside.
With
it's
the
always
light.
Just a golden glow.
Yeah.
which I always assumed was just gold bars or something, but you don't really know. And of course, then the other one is the watch.
His dad's watch or something.
Yeah, Bruce Willis's dad's old watch, which is basically a MacGuffin. You know, in most movies, you've got a MacGuffin is something that people chase.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to chase it except it's there to be chased.
Yeah, because he went back specifically to get the watch, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole reason he went back. But in this movie, I think Tarantino takes the absolute piss out of movies like, any movie that uses a MacGuffin and that's not very good by having someone chase a watch because it was up his dad's ass for 3 years. You remember this? The guy comes to his house when he's a kid.
I don't remember the up the ass. I remember it was his dad's watch, and he came back for it. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
there's a whole thing with Christopher Walken comes and speaks
another
to him.
Great actor.
Brilliant actor. Comes and speaks to him, and he says, "Look, this watch, your dad has died in the war, I'm afraid, and your dad's watch is here, and it's his pocket watch, and he went into a concentration camp or something like that, or a prisoner of war camp, and to stop it getting taken off of him because he wanted to pass it to Bruce Willis, he put it up his ass."
Oh, okay.
And he had it up there for 3 years, and it's a very intense one single conversation about this. And then he died, and then Christopher Walken, his friend, put it up his ass for 2 more years. I think it is.
Okay.
Something like this. The numbers, I think it's got the numbers wrong.
I don't remember the numbers. I remember the watch, and I don't remember that significant part.
Yeah, this is quite significant, I think, because it makes you feel for the fact that it makes you feel and understand why this watch is so important, because it's been up his dad's ass.
And it's the last thing he has for his dad as well.
He went through all of that just to get him this watch.
Yeah.
Been up 2 people's bums. And yeah, I mean, that just, that simple piece of dialogue just makes you really feel for why he's actually going back, as opposed to a MacGuffin that's just like, it could mean anything most of the time. Most MacGuffins mean nothing. Just think of what was it? What was the Superman one recently with the MacGuffin?
The Ring. The whole film?
Yeah.
Anything.
Any of the films, anyway.
This also has that great moment where Bruce Willis comes back home and John Travolta's taking a shit in his toilet.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant, right? It's just like, that's what would happen. Like, you'd go, you're an assassin, you need to go for a wee, you need to go for a dump, and you're in the house, you might as well use the facilities.
And then the toast pops up, pow, he's gone, he's dead.
Yeah.
And to think that could have been Samuel L. Jackson's character if he hadn't left the game.
That's right.
By then. Because I think
it could have been both of them there, and then they would have both survived.
Maybe they would have both survived. It would have changed the whole story. Exactly.
Because Samuel L. could have been in the kitchen while John Travolta took a shit as a lookout.
Yeah. Because Samuel L. Jackson's story is the one that I find most interesting these days. Like, I didn't notice this back when I watched it back in the day, but in the last few years when I've seen it, is that there's a big religious thing going on in this movie as well, where he witnesses a miracle, if you remember.
Is this in the canteen, the cafe?
Well, when he gets to the cafe, he's already witnessed the miracle, and he wants out of the game because of it. He's changed his mind on what his life, what he wants to do with it.
What was the miracle? Was it the gun firing off in the car?
No, it's when they're in the flat talking, trying to get they're threatening the guys with.
Someone shoots back at him.
Cheeseburger and all that stuff. The big kahuna blow. Yeah, someone shoots at him and shoots all the way around him and that absolutely misses him at like almost point blank range. And that completely changes his view on things. And like after he just said the Bible quote as well, and then for that to happen, he's like, shit. Something's happened here. Apparently, it's something that comes up quite a lot in Tarantino's movies as well. Is someone with a religious viewpoint, which is interesting, but I only really noticed it in this one. So do we have a rating for it? Do you want to rate it?
This is I mean, you'll come to the rest, but for me, this might be my favorite film of Quentin. So this would definitely be a cinema watch. If you can somehow still buy it, definitely buy it. You wouldn't be disappointed. It's so good. And you may have seen it because it's parodied, and you'll see people with T-shirts. You see this film just transcended an indie film and has become pop culture as we know it. Like there's so many people trying to emulate this.
Yeah, and they show it on TV all the time as well. So
yeah,
you can't really miss it anymore, which is
great.
Okay, so next things that he wrote and directed. Do you know the next thing that comes up?
The next one was Jackie Brown.
Well, he did actually do a few more other things in between that, but we're not going to cover them. But of course, he did. He directed an episode of ER.
Oh, did he? Wow,
not a big thing.
George Clooney.
He wrote and directed. Yes, George Clooney's coming up.
No, because he worked with him from Dusk Till Dawn, so he may have done a ER episode as a.
Yeah, that might be what got him into Dusk Till Dawn. Who knows? Yeah, he worked alongside with George Clooney in Dusk Till Dawn. That's right. Which is a Robert Rodriguez film as well, which he ends up working with quite a lot. And also he directed a thing called Four Rooms, right? It's a movie that was directed by 4 different directors, and they each took a segment.
Okay.
But that's not so well known, and I'm still waiting for a copy of it now that I know about it, because I only found out about it when I was researching. So as soon as I know what it's like, I'll let you know.
Brilliant.
But then Jackie Brown. Okay, so Jackie Brown is one that I didn't really hear about for ages, because I don't think it got a worldwide cinema release, or it was only really shown in the UK, in the US, and I didn't really come to it until a lot later. And so the next film for me was more like Kill Bill, and then I had to go back to Jackie Brown. I don't know what your experience of it is.
I actually watched Jackie Brown in the cinema in the UK.
You watched it?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
So,
I don't know what that's about then, because I couldn't get worldwide stats for it.
Okay.
He didn't release it on DVD for like 5 years. So yeah, I didn't really know about it for a long time.
So I remember watching this. Pam Grier plays Jackie Brown.
Yeah, you're going to tell us what it's about as well?
Not Jodie Foster. It's Jane Fonda's in it. Robert De Niro, Samuel Jackson, Chris Tucker's in this as well.
Yes.
And this is one of his 5 films to get to that 20 mil. But so it stars Samuel Jackson. He's I want to say he does bonds, or she does bonds. There's bonds involved.
Yeah, that's right.
And
good.
she's
That's good.
She's a stewardess. I watched this years ago. I've only seen it the one time. And this this is kind of maybe my least favorite.
I can never remember this film either. So
I remember this film. He puts Chris Tucker in the car because he jumped the bail or something. He put him in the boot. They drive off, and he said, "I'm going to take you somewhere." And they literally just drive around in a circle, and then just shoots the trunk and kills him. Robert De Niro's in this film as well, and I can't remember what he does. But again, look at the star cast is incredible. Like, he gets all these people. Yeah, but Samuel L. Jackson, he's in this. He's not the good guy. He's kind of the bad guy. Sam Greer kills him in the end. And
he's kind of the weaker bad guy. He's kind of a pathetic character in this one.
Yeah, and I can't remember all of it. I just remember something about bonds. She was a stewardess, and Jane Fonda's in it for some reason. She just kind of wanders in and out, and then her and Robert De Niro have sex.
Yes.
Chris Tucker dies. I always remember the Chris Tucker death
in the cinema.
And I remember Chris Tucker dying, and that was kind of it. Because he plays an annoying guy. He plays himself in this film.
Who?
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker, yes, the comedian, yes. So you've got most of it, except I think you'd really say it stars Jackie Brown. She's kind of the centre of it, but then you're right. As soon as the movie starts, we're showing her right at the beginning as a stewardess to show that she is the star, but then it goes straight into the story of Beaumont, who's Chris Tucker, being bail bonded out of jail by Samuel L. Jackson or Ordell, because he doesn't want him to squeal on his criminal business. So he basically bail bonds him out to kill him. And yeah, he just drives him around the block, shoots him, just like that. Robert De Niro is like another. Like I've never seen Robert De Niro in this sort of character either. Like he's he's kind of like a fairly pathetic criminal character, a bit like Ordell as well. They kind of, I think Ordell is drug running. No, he's gun running is what he's doing.
Okay.
And it's Pam Grier's friend. Well, she sort of befriends the bail bond man who goes to get her out. So Beaumont has already been shot to stop him from squealing. Then Ordell, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, gets Pam Grier, who's Jackie Brown, out of jail next, and then the bail bonder, whose name is Max Cherry, is then sort of gets a connection and feels for her because he's going to get her out of jail, and they both know what it means. They know that
she's going to be killed next. Yeah,
Ordell's going to be going to kill her. So straight away they get a connection, and he decides to leave the game of bail bonding straight there and then. Although he doesn't straight away.
Who's the actor? Who's the other person?
Robert Forster.
Okay, don't know who he is.
No, I don't know him, but he's another one, sort of a classic actor that's been in a lot of films, just like Pam Grier, really. Pam Grier was in a lot of dodgy 70s movies and blaxploitation movies, which is why I think Quentin Tarantino knew her from those movies. And this is a sort of based on blaxploitation movies. So that's sort of its angle. And yeah, I like this movie, but it's got also got it hasn't got so much of as most of Quentin Tarantino's movies has is non-linear story, but it doesn't have much of it in this movie, except for the point where they're moving money around and they just show from 3 different angles, which it didn't have as much of an impact as the other movies.
That's why I think I never went back and watched this a second time. I saw this years ago, and I think, is it I want to say like a 1998 release or something?
Yeah, 97. Yeah,
wow,
so
good shout. Yeah,
very good.
A lot. Yeah, so I remember watching this once and never actually going back to it. I mean, back then, the cinemas where we live, they were a bit lenient. They didn't ask for ID, so you can get into almost any film.
Oh wow!
It got stricter as time went on. Okay, when I got closed down all the cinemas because of that. They now ask for ID. Yeah. If anyone's listening.
Back in the day, people could get in the fire escape and stuff and watch movies.
You literally bought a ticket for what was it? Did you say 98? So maybe you bought a ticket for The Lion King, a child, and you could walk into Jackie Brown. This is an example. Because
you could if they were in the right areas in my city.
Exactly, if they were on the same. But yeah, so I agree with you. I think in terms of dialogue and everything was great. I think the story was, for this one, it was just fine, and he didn't have that kind of same style that he had in Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, and that's why those two are more kind of cult classics than this one. And this one was more. It looks glossy and feels kind of like more like he's now got a proper studio behind him. This is when he was working with that's Sex Pest, and they kind of produced the film and stuff, and so it felt like a bigger budget film as well, compared to kind of like the more raw films he'd done previously, where it was like, Quentin, you have to make the film on this shoestring budget and see what you can produce.
For me, I think it's just more of a personal piece. I think he made it for Pam Grier, really, to focus on her, and I think the Robert Forster guy as well, it really focuses on those characters. And where you've got Robert De Niro and Samuel L. Jackson, who would usually be like the hard-hitting, very stylized characters, they're such little characters. They're
subdued a little.
Yeah, they're subdued and they're pathetic and they're human, and I think that's why it's not such a big movie. And you know, it's not one of those hard-hitting, stylized movies that he's done with Pulp Fiction, which got him the big fame, and then next one coming up as well, Kill Bill. They're just such big, stylized movies. Whereas this one was going for that blaxploitation angle, and it's got all the nice sort of black artist music in it and things like that. But it's also very focused on those two characters and sort of how they're getting old and they want to retire, actually get some money out of this bad situation. Because yeah, so I do like this movie. I've seen it several times since, and I understand it a bit more every time, because there's the bit where they come up with a big plan in the middle. I don't know if you can remember it from when you've seen it.
No.
But they're in the shopping mall, and they're trying to get his money. They're trying to set him up, but at the same time they're trying to steal the money. So they're trying to set him up with the police, but also they're trying to steal the money for themselves. And they've just got this plan of where they're going to switch all these bags, and then they have like a test run first of all. And for me, all of those things the first time sort of meld into one, and maybe lost me a little bit.
Okay.
But every time you see it, it makes a little bit more sense. So I would say it's worth watching again. So rating wise, I would say it's worth watching again. I'd say give it 2 or 3 stars. 3 stars. You should go back and watch it.
This would have to be a streaming service one. I mean, if you already own a streaming service and you pay for it, if it's on there, watch it. If not, well, it's fine. It's all right.
Yeah.
Not missing out. But I will have to watch this again, because I haven't seen it since. And I think coming off Pulp Fiction and then watching this one, that's why I was disappointed. I think I'd gone in with I should never have gone in with that expectation that this guy's going to produce something as incredible as this film again.
Yeah.
Just going with fresh eyes. It's a new film. Start again from scratch.
Exactly. Because I went back to it as a film. Oh, it's an underrated film that I haven't really seen for some reason. It hasn't had a public image for me personally, and that's how I enjoyed it, because I could see it was not a big hitter. So yeah, Kill Bill.
Volumes 1 and 2 together, or
just volumes 1 and 2. I hate breaking it up into 2 volumes. Yes, just Kill Bill the whole lot. We can talk about both volumes, obviously, but
this is pretty straightforward, right?
The movie,
Uma Thurman needs to kill Bill. Done.
Yeah.
That's the whole story. How good was that?
That's the whole movie. Of course, split into 2 movies. So we don't even see Bill, do we, in volume 1, or do we? Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't appear till volume 2. Yeah.
And you don't even know who Kill Bill is. You don't even know who Bill is at the time in the first movie.
No. So this one came out in the 2000s, I think.
Yep, 2003. Yep.
So at this time, in the 2000s, if we look back at time, this is where I think martial arts kind of this sort of films were. I don't know if like Hero and Crouching Tiger and all of that had already happened or not, but this really paved the way for US cinema to use this sort of kind of art form, cinematography as well.
Basically the martial arts sort of movie.
Yeah, and I think he brought that back into US cinema, while it's obviously been massive in kind of like in I don't know what's the Asian market. So we say the Asian market, but it was incredible. Her fight against the Crazy 88s.
Yeah,
it is. It's incredible, that whole kind of like, I don't know if they built that whole set and the way the camera spins from one to the other. It feels, I know it's cut and it's edited, but it almost feels like there's long sections where it's one take.
Yeah, I think
normally you watch action sequences and action films and you can tell where they cut jump. And so, that actor was actually, it's taken him 10 minutes to do this one scene because they keep cutting it so they can get different angles. But it felt like there was a lot of one shots.
Yeah.
There's the bit with the especially with the staircase and stuff going up and down. This film, even the end of number 1, right? Lucy Liu and her, the whole kind of fight in I always think it's snow, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, I think it's as well, because there's that white and then the cut is very red.
It looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like
it is,
you come from this inside building bit and she's killed them all, and then she goes outside and you just look outside, it looks beautiful. Like again, the budgets for these films may have been like 30 million or something. They weren't that big. And it's incredible, the whole the first half, the very different films, aren't they? So the volume 1,
true, very true.
Volume 2, I think number 1 is incredible. Like I didn't know what to expect. Yeah, and I don't remember watching the trailers for this. I just remember knowing it's a Quentin Tarantino film. Let's go watch it. And I watched it, and I was like, this is incredible. And then the problem is, you've seen number 1, and it ends with the Lucy Liu bit and her wiggling her toe. Then we get to volume 2, which is completely different. It is 2 separate films, but maybe
it's very slow. The second movie I found.
Because the snake kills one of them. She doesn't even get to kill all of them. The bride doesn't get to kill all the people. One of them.
Snake in the box.
But her bit with Bill is good. Like the dialogue and the whole kind of last 10 minutes or whatever is really, really good. Like the whole kind of conversations and stuff they have, and then the actual fight. But nothing beats Volume 1. I think that was incredible.
I mean, I think it kind of sets up what's to come, because most of his, well, not all of them, but most of his movies after this one focus a lot more on dialogue and intense dialogue. So the second part sort of does that sort of thing, whereas the first part does what maybe people are expecting of him. In terms of action and over the top blood and things like that. So it's almost like it segues from like his roots of violent movies to maybe something where he's going to use his conversational skills that he has great scripting for, but to actually make something very intense as well. So the whole conversation with Bill and things, when he comes up, when she finally meets up with Bill, and she still wants to kill Bill, presumably.
That's the title.
But it's suddenly taken down to like a personal level of having a conversation as well.
I think it's great because, if you take Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Jackie Brown, he's not shown kind of he can do action or he can do martial arts or anything yet. He's not shown us that. He showed us his great dialogue, and he's shown us great storytelling. He showed us that non-linear approach, which he brings into this. But he brings all of that plus this incredible action sequences, which I don't think. I mean, people talk about Matrix being incredible. It was fine. I mean, he dodged the bullet, which we saw in Blade. He did the same thing in Blade. I mean, there's nothing special in that film. But I think this, for me, was a person who'd kind of seen a lot of films, was inspired by that, influenced in that way, and he just brought this incredible world that I don't remember seeing in kind of American cinema at that time.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's known as a sort of genre filmmaker, because obviously the last one we had was a blaxploitation movie. The other ones have been sort of very crime-driven movies and things like that, and this one is like his martial arts movie. It's all the stuff that we grew up on back in the day and rented from the video store, as he'd call it, video shop, or Blockbuster. And he would have done that as well. So these are all the movies that we grew up with as teenagers. Like martial arts movies was one of those typical ones you'd rent, and they were all from Japan or China, have Bruce Lee and things like that. Yes, and it's like he's got his head just packed full of all these great movies, and he just wants to do them the best that he can as well, and just wants to do something amazing with them. And I think he does that with this. He decides to transform the genre of martial arts movies onto the big screen for American audiences and worldwide audiences. And the music is great in this as well. It just all works well together. Oh, the siren sounds and things like that every time Kill Bill. Is that her name?
She's the bride. They referred to her as the bride, didn't they?
The bride. Every time she gets mad, you get that.
Sound. Yeah. I haven't seen this in so long.
And the whistling sound of the woman with the one eye. I think her name is One Eye. You remember that? She's walking along the hospital corridor, about to go and finish her off, and she's just whistling this haunting tune.
It rings a bell. I'd have to watch this spliced together again.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, brilliant. Rating?
I think it is one film, but I would say watch number one. This was I watched it in the cinema. I loved it. Number two, it's very different. So set your expectations accordingly. Do not expect anything similar. And this is one I would say watch on a streaming service. So number one, I say go out, and this is what I even watched this in the cinema. The other one I did watch in the cinema, but I would put it down as watch on your streaming service.
Okay. Well, I think they're both brilliant, but you're right. The second one is slower, but I think it really needs to be watched as a whole. So I'd say just I mean, I'm not telling. My rating system doesn't go by cinema anyway.
The Pussy Wagon, that's it. That's the car, right?
Pussy Wagon, yeah.
So random, but there's a car that she hijacks. I was just thinking there's this car that she's a really flamboyant car, and I was just thinking, what was the name? It took me ages.
Something stuck with you. It's the Pussy Wagon. Which apparently has appeared in other movies and things as well. So I haven't got a list of them, but there you go. And a music video as well. A pretty famous wagon now. It's good.
So what was it in Telephone with Lady Gaga and Beyonce?
Yes,
was it in there?
Possibly that one. Yes. I don't know. It could well be. I have to check up on it later. Okay, so what did he do next? Tarantino.
Now it's
I'm messing with you as always.
So let's see. So he's done 1, 2, 3. He's done 4 so far. At this point, it's either Inglorious, I think, or Grindhouse. Inglorious.
Grindhouse is the next one to come up. But he also, Death Proof is his next big one. But in between he
directed a scene, didn't he, in Sin City?
He did direct a scene in Sin City for Robert Rodriguez.
For $1.
Yep, and also directed a scene of CSI as well, an episode in between. And he also wrote the screenplay for the Reservoir Dogs video game in the meantime.
Wow.
But then straight to Death Proof, I guess.
Yes.
What's the plot?
So him and Robert Rodriguez came up with this idea of trying to do these B films, back in the day. Back a long time ago, you used to be able to buy tickets and it'd be a double feature. So this idea was Robert Rodriguez would do a film, Quentin Tarantino would do a separate film, 2 different budgets, 2 different things, and then you'd put them both together and that would be your double feature film.
Yeah.
And Quentin Tarantino's was Death Proof, bringing back the great Kurt Russell.
Yeah, true.
And this incredible car that he basically picks up these ladies and then he uses the car to kill them. Some are sitting in the car, he chucks them out the windows, he runs them over. And again, this had a good star cast. This had Rosario Dawson. It had, I think, it's definitely got him, Kurt Russell. It's got some other people as well, some famous actresses as well. And it's more the women getting their revenge on him.
Yeah.
On Kurt Russell, not Quentin Tarantino. And it's, I think the story is, once it came out in the cinema as well, they realized the 2 films weren't doing so well. So internationally, it was almost like Death Proof was promoted and distributed by itself compared to Planet Terror, I think it was. But it was really good. There's a director's cut of this, which is another 20 minutes or something, and it adds more to it. And Kurt Russell, because again, another one of those incredible actors, had a amazing kind of movies, then took a little break, and then he came back, and now he's in the Fast and Furious franchise. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Kurt Russell's just incredible. So
he's back as a badass.
He is. He's Snake. Yes. Snake is back.
Excellent. Yes.
Good
from
film.
LA, things like that. Also, is in The Thing. Yeah.
Yes, but I think that was previous stuff. That's previous stuff.
Yes, definitely previous stuff. As you say, he does. You're exactly right with the plot. Anyway, yeah, well done. Obviously, first of all, they have them showing him being successful and killing a girl in his death-proof car, because he's a Hollywood stuntman who has a car that can't kill him but can kill the person in the driver's seat.
Yes.
And then the next thing we see about a year later is the group of girls who are just kick-ass women who aren't going to take shit, and he tries to mess with them, and he doesn't come out the best out of it, basically. Very much a genre movie again, B-movie style, I'd say. Exploitation, horror, and car chase movie as well, all rolled into one. Zoe Bell, who's the lead, I think, of the ladies, who does most of the stunts on the car, was actually the stunt woman from Kill Bill as well.
Oh, wow.
So where Kill Bill was a vehicle for Uma Thurman, he basically wrote it with Uma Thurman in mind as the star. Jackie Brown, he wrote for Pam Grier, thinking, I'm going to put you in this movie. You're going to do great in this movie. You're perfect for this. And for this one, I think he thought, wow, Zoe Bell, you're amazing at what you do, and you can act. I'm going to put you as an actual actor rather than a stunt woman.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He just wants to do good things for the cinema world. That Tarantino.
Kid.
And the woman that gets murdered, I think, is Rose McGowan.
Yeah. Okay.
Who is also
Planet Terror.
Who is basically the star of Planet Terror. Yeah, so they interlink their movies in that way as well.
And she was picked because of the Harvey Weinstein allegations that were going on at that time. That's why Robert Rodriguez picked her in the film. And I think, I don't know how she got picked for her bit in this other film, but I imagine it'd be something similar. But this was when they were when that sex pest was around.
Yeah, I mean, she was from a different era, a sexploitation era, slightly. Do you think? Or why was she chosen exactly then?
So, the Harvey Weinstein stuff, right, is still ongoing.
Yeah.
And she's alleged, and so have loads of other women. So there's got to be some truth. There's not always smoke without fire, right? So he's been a sex pest, let's just say that, right? So
in this case, it's quite obvious it's true.
Inappropriate behaviors. He's been and he's raped a bunch of women as well. He's just an awful man. And so I think Robert Rodriguez, or somehow people found out about it or something, and it's still quite kept hush-hush in the industry. But that's the reason why she was picked to play in the Robert Rodriguez film. I don't know if that was the same reason why Quentin also picked her to be in his film as well at the start. Or it could just be because it's Grindhouse he picked her because it can be in the same universe. So she could have been in Planet, and then, she doesn't really die at the end of it, maybe, and then she just loses her leg, and that's how Planet Terror happens. Who knows? The universes could be linked, but that's the reason why she was in the original.
Okay. So was there anything? Do you remember this movie well then? Because this is another one that I quite often forget. I have to go back each time and I think, I don't remember it being like this.
Again, this is one I watched once.
Yeah.
So I watched it as a double feature, and I watched one after the other. And I think I watched it's Planet Terror first, Death Route. But at this point, I love Robert Rodriguez and I loved Quentin Tarantino. So the fact that they were doing a film together sounded great. But I think what happened was they got given huge budgets to try and make a B movie style kind of grindhouse kind of thing, when they should have been given smaller budgets and say, look, guys, we know you can do incredible things. Look at Desperado. Look at Pulp Fiction. Here is like 5 million US, and now go away and make incredible films the way you guys do. Instead of here's 30 or 40 million each, go away, make something, and then we will slap it together, make it like a B movie. And I think that's where it kind of fails because it's quite glossy. It looks good.
They spent more money on this than Kill Bill.
Exactly, yeah. So, even though he's got like scratches in the film and he's got like missing reel here, stuff like that, to make it feel like it was supposed to be an old grindhouse film. It never really felt that way. If it just made this film on a smaller budget, and we could see what Tarantino can do he would have done a great job, because he just proved that in Kill Bill. He proved that in Pulp Fiction. I think after a certain time, this is one of those films where I think his career is kind of like, they're all great films, but they're kind of like the first two are just, I'd say masterpieces. Then Jackie Brown is just a good film. So kind of for someone who's that good, it goes down a bit. And then, then after that, he has Kill Bill. Is that right? So volume 1, again, a masterpiece. Second one, again, a good film. And then this one it's just a good film. Like if it's someone else's film, you're like, that was good. That was really good. I enjoyed it. For Tarantino, I think because the bar is so high for him to clear each time, this is just a good film.
Yeah.
It could have been so much better if they just restricted it to directors and just given them almost no money and said, go away, make a film.
Yeah. I think you're right, because it does feel like such a cheap film, even though it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I would really, most of the time, I wouldn't even class it as part of his 8 movies. It's like a half a movie, because obviously it was part of a half, the Grindhouse
Double
presentation.
Feature,
Double feature means it's slightly shorter as well, and it feels like a cheap movie. It's an okay movie. I love all of Tarantino's movies and what he does with what he does, So it's nice that he wanted to do this B movie style and this car chase scene with real stunts and all that sort of thing. It's nice that he wanted to do that, but it's just something that he's done for himself.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not really that big a movie as it could have been. I don't know. Yeah, so I wouldn't really class it as one of his big movies, but he certainly does, because obviously the Hateful Eight is classed as his 8th movie, and so that means this is definitely his 5th movie. He's gotten very well ordered on of what movie he classes as his movies, which he counts. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. So, would you recommend it?
I mean, if you've got an hour or hour and a half to kill, you're on your streaming service and you've seen everything else, that's where I'd put this. It's worth a watch, but it's not something you should run out and watch like some of his previous films.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 2 or 3 stars for my version of my version of rating. It's it's an okay film. If you're a big fan of Tarantino, you're definitely going to watch it and enjoy it. If you're not a big fan, then it's just kind of average. Yeah, I agree. So his next film up, 2009.
It's Inglorious
Basterds.
With Brad
Misspelled.
Pitt, Christopher Waltz.
Yes, Christopher
Who won an
Waltz.
Academy Award, didn't he, for this film?
Yeah, his first time to Tarantino movies, and amazing.
Yeah, I think it's his first feature-length film as well, Christopher Waltz.
Yeah.
And he got nominated. I can't remember if he won. Maybe he won an Oscar for this. Yeah, it's really good. This is just, and it's a very different film. Like what we've seen previously to like so it's almost like saying, here, Quentin Tarantino, go make a war film. And that's what he's done. He's made a war film, but he's done it in such a different way. Very unique.
That's what he likes to do, though. He likes to take one genre and then twist it around and make something new out of it. So,
yeah, this was really good. This is him making a comeback right back to his the first 2 films days. That's how good this one is.
Okay, for me, I love this movie too, but it's so long that it's hard to remember.
Oh, it's about 3 hours, you mean?
Yeah, I love it, but like I feel like, do I really want to rewatch it every time, because it's just so long? But what is the plot then?
Soldiers trying to kill Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you've nailed it pretty much.
And Brad Pitt's in it.
Yes. So there's vigilante, well, not really vigilante, but a vigilante set of soldiers who like to do things the brutal way in France during World War II, scalping Nazis. And then at the same time, you've got a lady who owns a cinema, who the bad guy, Christopher Waltz, ends up chatting to, and choosing her cinema as a place for a sort of high-ranking official Nazi meetup to watch, probably Dawn of a Nation, whatever it's called, that sort of Nazi propaganda film, stuff like that. And the two come together to use their cinema to give the Nazis a big hit by burning it down. Yeah. So Christopher Waltz, as you say, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's brilliant in I love seeing Brad Pitt in this movie. I'm a big fan of his as well.
I remember watching Brad Pitt in something called Californication, I think it is, with the guy from X-Files, David Duchovny, right?
Yeah.
But he, spoiler alert, he plays the villain, Brad Pitt, but he was so good in that film that after that, I loved everything he did, Seven, Fight Club, whatever it be. I was just like, yeah, I'll watch Brad Pitt in anything. He was so good.
Yeah. I think for me, it was Fight Club, the first thing that I really liked him in. So yeah, ever since that, I've been interested to see what he's in.
And that six-pack in Thelma and Louise, I was like, wow, this man can act.
Yeah.
Without a shirt.
And he's going to be in the upcoming Quentin Tarantino, isn't he? Is that right?
Once Upon a Time, yeah. It's him and Leonardo DiCaprio and Margot Robbie. Again, a huge star cast for this one as well.
Which is why we're talking about this, obviously, today, because it's coming up soon, this new movie. And we'll talk about that a bit later, I guess. Trying to talk about that. So you liked Inglorious Basterds?
I did. I enjoyed this.
It's a new take.
It's actually quite funny as well. Like there's I wouldn't say laugh out loud moments, but the dialogue, and again, because this is kind of like what I want to see him do. I don't want to see him kind of pegged down. But I guess people just say, "What do you want to make?" And he's just like, "I've got this idea," and you're like, "Go ahead, and make it. Get whoever you want." People want to work with him, but it's just the dialogue and the story, and even though it's such a subject matter that's kind of like happened not that long ago, and it still resonates with a lot of people because of how horrific it was and the things that went on. He actually makes it it's a fresh look on all of that. Some of it's actually funny, and the first time I watched it, the 3 hours did drag, but I think if I had to invest the time again now, it's like I have to put aside 3 hours to watch this film. So I think that's the only downfall.
I think once you start watching it, like we both said, it is really long. But once you start watching it, his
whizzes by.
His skills, his script writing, is just so good that you get entranced by any of his movies now. Like the way people just talk back and forth, it's very easy to kill those 3 hours. They disappear quite quickly. Because I remember this movie mainly for the intense dialogue. And if you see, it starts straight out with Christopher Waltz interrogating people, and that's like an intense conversation. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time, and then just throughout the movie, whenever Christopher Waltz is around, you're on the edge of your seat as to what's going to happen next, because just you don't know what's going to happen, and everything could change just in an instant. And he could find out that someone is an enemy of the Nazi Party in any moment and just shoot them, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat.
His acting is incredible in this film.
Yeah, I mean, he is an incredible actor. I think I read that this movie almost didn't get made in the sense they couldn't find an actor to play his part. That just they needed someone who was just that good. And they were like, they almost didn't get made until they found Christopher Waltz, who just showed immediately how amazing of an actor he is.
So this is one I'd definitely say. It's a bit late now, but this is definitely a cinema watch, because you've got to go out your way, spend 3 hours and enjoy it, or watch it on DVD or something. The good thing about watching at home, you can pause and go for a wee break. It's a good film. It will whiz by. If
Volume
it's the
1,
first,
Volume 2.
Exactly. If it's the first time you watch it, I think there's so much happening, and you're kind of on the edge of your seat for a lot of it, that the time just whizzes by.
Yeah, I think once you know what's going to happen, it's less of a surprise, so it's less as intense, but it's still a good watch just to watch all those things unfold. But I would still give it probably 3 stars for it, because for me, this one is just a little bit longer and less impactful for me than some of his other films.
Wow.
I'm afraid, yeah.
That's a big middle finger to Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, well, sorry, but Django is just which coming up was just.
Oh yes, I was thinking, what was the next one?
Big movie.
I'd forgotten about this one. Because
Okay.
I kept thinking, what's number 7? What's number 7? And now that you've told me, it's Django Unchained.
So Inglorious Basterds and Death Proof are two that I mix up the order of, which you almost did as well. Quite forgettable sometimes for me, which obviously not the case for you for Inglorious Basterds. But for you, it's Django Unchained you were forgetting.
As in, I just didn't remember. Yeah,
just
he's number 7th.
Okay.
But I remember watching it, and I remember loving this film.
Yes.
This had Leonardo.
Yes.
This had Samuel L. Jackson, Jamie Foxx, Kerry Washington, Quentin Tarantino himself.
Christopher Waltz again.
Oh yes, because he's the bounty hunter.
It's the good guy.
And he helped Jamie Foxx. And he at the start of the film he rescues him, and then they go off to find this guy who Jamie Foxx has seen to claim a bounty on him.
Yeah,
and he turns out to be the sheriff, I think.
Yeah,
of this town.
One. Yeah.
And then he teaches him how to do this bounty hunting and stuff. It's incredible.
Exactly. He gives a black slave his freedom, and then teaches him to become a bounty hunter.
Yes.
Great.
And it's also got this moment in where Leonardo's doing this incredible speech, and he's an amazing actor. I've always thought that. But he's basically stealing the movie from everyone, and he's just there. He's amazing. Talking, and he breaks the glass in his hands.
Yeah.
And he's got actual blood because the actual glass cuts into. Yeah. And he just carries on. He just nails it so well that he's like, I don't care. I'm going to get through this. And it's just so powerful. His whole performance is incredible. I can't believe he didn't win an Oscar for this one. He won it for Revenant, and I think at the end they just kind of gave it to him. But he was so good in this film.
It shows how Tarantino always brings actors and brings the best out of them, really, because like Leonardo DiCaprio, that's Titanic, all that stuff. He's fine. He's okay in Shutter Island, whatever stuff. But yeah, he's absolutely amazing in this. Quentin brings him to life.
He's had some good films, Aviator, Gangs of New York. He did a lot of Scorsese films as well. Departed.
He's actually say he was exactly. I know. I mean, Basketball Diaries, all that.
That was really good as well. Yeah.
He is a brilliant actor, but the point is that people don't get to see he's a great
Beach.
Actor. They just don't show him as
the man in the Iron Mask. He plays 2 roles.
Yeah, I still think this is his best role.
No, but that had like Jeremy Irons, Gerald Depardieu. It had Gabriel Byrne.
You're just saying how great he was in this movie.
He was so good. He played as 2 actors. That's how I knew he was amazing, because he played these 2 different roles. And you're right. This was something special, though. He was incredible. I loved it.
I think so, but I see everything through a lens of Quentin Tarantino, because I am a big fan. So yeah, I see someone in Tarantino movies and I go, wow, I didn't know they could do that.
I think this is the first time I'd seen Jamie Foxx in Ray. Seen him in a few other films as well, and I always thought, like, Jamie Foxx is really good, but in this film I think he's really good. But also, boy, does he look good naked, because there's a whole scene which was kind of like made no sense, but he's just dangling around naked, and
upside down.
Wow,
yeah, you get to see his balls. It's his ass crack.
Jamie Foxx looks amazing.
You can see his willy a little bit in the background there.
We had to pause it a few times, but sure, we did. We managed it.
Feature just to check.
We did it. Then we high-fived.
Definitely. Good story, bro.
Well,
that didn't actually happen.
I think that this film's great, but that at the end where Tarantino comes in and he saves him, and then he kills Tarantino and he does the whole thing. I think that 20 odd minutes really didn't need to be there, because he felt like he's prolonging the end of this film. It's an incredible film. I loved it.
It did tie up how the film would end, but and it's Quentin Tarantino just putting himself in movies and not doing very well. It makes me cringe to see him act now, whereas at first it was okay. Like Pulp Fiction, he's okay. Reservoir Dogs, he's okay. Death Proof, he plays in the guy in the bartender, unnoticeable. But by now he's just he puts on a stupid Australian accent.
Yeah, you should just avoid that. That Yeah, I love this film. I think it's really good. Samuel L. Jackson plays a slave who's living in Thingy's house.
Head
Again,
slave.
another great performance by him again.
Yeah, and another different
and even like Leo, he must have read that script and the words and the things he had to say. He must have thought, "Oh my God, can I actually say any of this stuff?"
Yeah.
It's, if you haven't seen the film, go watch it. Don't want to spoil it, and we can't even say any of that stuff. Now. But it's amazing. We can't say any of that stuff he says in that film. He's so good, and he makes it. It's weird because it makes me feel that he is, and he's not. And genuinely, I love Leo, but he makes me feel in that film, as he's acting away, that he's a genuine racist.
Yeah,
he was so good. Like everything he said, the way he acted, his mannerisms. I don't know how he does it. He's just so good. And I know in real life he's an amazing man, and I'd love to meet him one day and give him a hug and a high five. But he was so good. I just believed him. I couldn't stop staring at like how good he was.
Apparently, Tarantino himself said that the character that Leonardo DiCaprio played in that is the only character he's ever written that he didn't like, that he actually hated. Oh, okay. He's just revolted by his own character he'd written. Whereas other bad guys, you know, he didn't. He had some likable aspects about him, but
but this guy has no redeeming qualities at all. Absolutely none. He's a terrible person. Yeah, but such a good actor.
Candyland. I love the name of that place. Oh. Let's go to Candyland. I mean, great movie. The thing I noticed about this movie as well is it's Django Unchained. You only really get the Django Unchained arc right at the end, where he's the badass as well.
Well, I guess it's kind of freedom as well, right? So early on, when he buys his freedom, and he's actually a free man for the first time. So it can have both kind of connotations, can't it? It's about him being free, unchanged.
Unchained,
loved it. Such a good film.
And also music-wise, like Tarantino's had great choice of music in
soundtracks have been amazing. Yeah.
And this one's spaghetti western, but sometimes there's like heavy rap to go in the flow of what Django's sort of motivation is. So when he's about to kick some ass, it's like, put on some heavy rap music.
Yes, they could have put a Jamie Foxx track in there as well. Like he's in R&B. He's got a lot of hip hop friends.
Yeah. I mean, Jamie Foxx has a great record of movies as well.
Blame it on the Jews. It's like blame it on the alcohol. Gold digger. You took my money.
These are all tracks,
when
right?
I'm in need. Yes, these are all Jamie Foxx featured tracks.
Just come out with these words. I'm a bit worried.
Amazing. Yeah. If there is a rating system for this, I didn't watch in the cinema. This is one I missed. I watched on something called Sky Movies, but I would have definitely have loved to watch this in the cinema. So in the rating system, this is definitely a cinema watch.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a 4-star movie for me as well. Just the intense conversations with DiCaprio, which are totally believable.
So good. Yeah.
And also Christopher Waltz and Jamie Foxx just together are great, and coming up through the film. Yeah, definitely worth a watch. And then the big shootout as well at the end, which has to happen because, Tarantino and westerns. It's actually a lot of fun as well, apart from the fact also it's got quite a lot of disturbing connotations for sort of deep South racism and slavery. Yeah. It can be quite a fun movie, but at the same time, it can be quite a disturbing movie.
Yeah, I think this is his film with the most amount of nudity as well.
Yeah, probably is.
So that's a big thumbs up.
Yeah. I mean, you get to see Broomhilda slightly naked while being dragged around the field as well. So great. And him hung upside down about to get his nads chopped off. So, yeah. Brilliant nudity. Yes, and Tarantino being in the movie as well. Disappointing on that. Okay, so the next movie. Final movie of the movies is released. so far because we're waiting on the next one.
Yes.
We'll talk about the release of the next one. Though.
Yep.
Next one, The Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight, yes. Again, what a star cast, right? Kurt Russell's in here. You've got the guy. You've got Samuel L. Jackson. You've also got Channing Tatum. You've got Jennifer Scott Lee, I think it is. She plays the main female lead.
Jason Lee.
And even all the other people in their house, they're all famous people. You'll recognize them all. They're all people who've been in stuff.
Yeah.
Madsen's back again as well. He plays a role in this film. And it's about 8 bounty hunters who find themselves in a kind of cabin in the snow, and they have to spend the night there. Yeah.
All the while knowing that one of them might be a mole, a traitor.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
which
and
is
obviously he's brought bounty with him, which is worth a lot of money. So, is there any one of the bounty hunters going to kill him and take the bounty for themselves? Because he's the hangman, right? Kurt Russell.
Yeah, he wants to take the girl to be hung. Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
And one of them is the new sheriff of the town, I think, as well.
Yes, he is.
Or he claims to be at the beginning.
He's a good actor as well.
If you want spoiler free.
This is quite a recent film, but it's so good, I think.
It is. But this, I don't think it. Not everyone thinks so. I think it's a bit of a slower movie.
Definitely,
which not everyone likes. It's got the blood and gore that you'd expect from Tarantino, or people try to expect. I don't think you should expect it. He can do anything, but yeah, it does quite often put blood and gore in these movies. But yeah, this is definitely where you're going back to more conversation again. It's all about slow cinematography, but very slow conversation and intense dialogue where you just don't know what's going to happen next. And you're always on the edge of your seat.
I always think of this film split into 3, right? So the starting when they're in the snow and he meets the other people. So you have the outdoor shots and you have this incredible backdrop to where it's going to be set. Then you have the second half
in the snow.
The second third of the film is when they enter the cabin and they start having the conversation with everyone. And then the third half, or the third, is when Channing Tatum and those guys arrive, and you have a different kind of film. I felt it was almost like, and for me personally, I know it's 3 hours, it's quite a long film, but for me, I really enjoyed it. I think it meshed really well together because that backdrop gives you the idea and the sense of scale as to what's going on in the outside world. And then he brings you into the cabin where you get that feel of kind of like secludedness. You get that feeling of kind of claustrophobia and all, because you got all these other people there. And I think he does that so well. So while, he's shown us the outside world and he's shown us how this landscape and what everything is going on down there, and he brings us into the house, kind of part 2 of 3, and then you got the third, which is the shootout and stuff. That's kind of how I see the film, and I loved it. I did really like it.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tarantino anyway, so I love the whole cinematic shots outdoors, it's all. I think it's filmed in extra wide screen or something. I've seen it every time I've seen it. It seems to be very wide. Yeah. So he's obviously taken that very old style of very slow artistic cinematography to just do beautiful shots.
Oh yeah.
We're not doing ratings right now, but I would say I've got it on DVD, but I would recommend Blu-ray because the picture, you need that good picture for it. It's just so beautiful. Or I don't know how HD it will be on video streaming services, but yeah, beautiful. And then also the dialogue, like you say, I mean, like I've been saying as well, like as his films have come along, like the dialogue has always been something he's really good at, where people just have natural conversations. But with the last 3 movies now, it's been the third one, you just have such intense conversations.
Yeah, he's back to that. This is the one where someone had taken the script and leaked it online.
Oh yeah.
And then they then said, okay, well, we're going to can the film. Then they did a reading, didn't they? So you got all the actors together. They filmed the reading, and he could see the vibe in the room, and you could see how much fun. Some of the dialogue's funny as well. How you know what, I should make this, and I'm glad he did. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it. I think people had their problems with it or whatever, but for me, I loved it. I think I'm glad that he went away and did this. Yeah, because it shows that kind of like, it shows his different style again and his evolution of as a director. Like he's gone from very different films to kind of doing a more kind of like, again, a very personal film. He can do it quite small. He can make it quite big, all in the same film.
And it makes sense to me that he would decide to make it after doing a reading, actually, because I didn't know that. But I think Tarantino's biggest talent is knowing who's going to play the parts and who's going to play them the absolute best. Yeah. So you can, like, if he's written an entire script, the script gets leaked. Yeah, people have seen the script. They don't know nothing about the movie. It's not a Tarantino movie until he's put it in the voices of the actors he's chosen, who are the perfect actors. So, yeah, I mean, he always picks amazing actors. Yeah. People were talking a lot about this being like The Thing when it was before it'd come out.
Oh, were they? Oh, because of the snow setting,
because they were
being abandoned,
and being isolated, and not knowing who's going to betray them. Just like
like in John Carpenter's Thing, at the end where they're all sitting around,
Yeah, I think also the person that wrote the musical score for this actually wrote the score for The Thing as well, and they used some tracks that were originally written for The Thing.
Oh, okay.
But he's also, I mean, that's another thing about the movie. It's got a great score as well. I think he must have done westerns and things as well, because it's just a really good artistic soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
For the backdrop. Something I actually found out today is this was actually originally written to be a Django sequel.
Oh,
did you know this? No. Yeah, I mean, they changed it. Basically, they changed it around because he decided that the character that Django was going to be didn't really fit his character, so they made it into a separate movie. But they started off as a novel written as a Django sequel.
How clever!
I was surprised to find out, and we're still looking forward to maybe getting a sequel for Django.
He's claimed that he's only doing one more film.
Well, some people say that he said he wants to make at least 10, so we might see more.
I mean, if someone said to me he's only making one more film, I want him to make Star Trek.
Yeah, that's what you want to see?
I mean, you got Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, and you've got everyone else still there. Kurt Urban, what's his name? Spock. Can't forget. Zoe Saldana. You got this incredible star cast. He could do so much with that. I think.
Yeah.
I love Star Trek, the first one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed number 3, and I think he would do an incredible. Simon Pegg. That's it. He'd do a great job at number 4, I think.
But Hateful Eight, first of all.
Hateful Eight, loved. Yeah, really good film. Again, this came out over Christmas, and like you said, this got pulled from certain cinema chains in the UK due to distribution issues and stuff.
Yeah, I had to travel to Brighton and watch it in the Odeon, which was a pretty cool experience. But usually I'd use my cinema card like 5 miles away.
I didn't watch this in the cinema, but I kind of look back and think maybe I should have supported this film because he didn't do as well as some of his other films, and I still enjoyed it. I think for some people it might be it's a bit of a slog, or they didn't like Channing Tatum in the film. Whatever the reason, I love his Samuel Jackson's story about he's got a letter from Lincoln, right? He's got this letter.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
And at the end, he shares it with the sheriff, and they kind of have a laugh and stuff. And that's
never know what's actually written on there.
No, you don't.
Just as Tarantino often doesn't show us the gold in the case. Doesn't show us the letter.
Yeah, it's a good film, right? Be good. It is, and it's I really liked it. I can't really say much bad about it. I liked it. That's why it's a bit long, but it doesn't matter.
I think it's slow and artistic, and not everyone appreciates that.
And again, look at this incredible star cast. If you just get them in a room, which is what he did, he put them in a cabin, and she plays a musical instrument as well, doesn't she? Does she do or does he do?
Yeah.
One of them plays a violin or something.
I
and
think
again,
she does,
all that stuff, just them sitting down, talking and kind of having a chat. The bit at the start, it's incredible because, you know, if you got good actors, a bit like when Michael Mann directed Heat, everyone talks about the coffee scene where he's got the camera whizzing around. You got Robert De Niro and Al Pacino just having a chat. And he goes, if I see you coming over the corner, I won't hesitate. And then De Niro says something similar. And just having great actors sometimes just act is amazing. And I love this. I love it.
Yeah, Michael Madsen brought back as well, yeah.
That's it. Madsen was back as well.
Yeah, Tim Roth from his other movies as well.
That's it. It was Tim Roth. Yeah. Such a good star cast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Planet of the Apes, Tim Roth.
Yeah. So, upcoming movie. We've got the new
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's going to be great. Like,
what's the plot?
What's the
It's
plot?
not out yet.
He's a stunt. He's a stunt man.
That's what it looks
Once
like.
Upon a Time in.
Talk about it together because I think we've both seen trailers, so we're not going to know it completely.
I haven't seen any trailers for this. I've stayed
trailer?
away. No, okay. I just know Quentin Tarantino was making film, and then I was like, I'll watch it regardless of what the story is or anything. But then I've seen some posters. I saw a picture of Brad Pitt and Leo, and I was like, okay, you got the best star cast. And then, you know, other names get released afterwards, and you're like, oh yeah, this looks amazing. So I've only seen posters and kind of snippets where they've talked about him being a stunt. I think it's mainly you telling me what it's about. That's it. I have no interest in finding out what this film is. I just want to go watch it. That's kind of. I rarely do this. Like, I think we live in a day and age where there's so much information is thrown at you from all aspects of media. And then I've seen, and I feel like I know the film before I go in to watch it. Yeah. And sometimes if you just watch a film off the title, as long as it's not a Netflix original, it might be quite good. Yeah. You never know. And I think once in a while you watch something without seeing the trailer, and sometimes the trailer gives away a twist or something. Like the Terminator films do. Some of the other films kind of give away. I was watching that David Fincher show that I was talking about the other day, and the title gave away. It's not a twist, but it gave away something about the show, that episode, which then happened, and you're like, oh, I kind of ruined it.
Shame. Yeah.
If I just watched it, this would have just happened, and it would have played out, and I would have just been able to enjoy it. Like when Hulk appears in Thor Ragnarok. If I'd never seen the trailers and I never knew Hulk was in it, to see him at Sakaar, and then he gets to the tournament, and there's these big green banners, and they're all kind of chanting away, and then to have the reveal happen in the cinema, I would have just blown my mind. I think that's why I haven't watched anything for this one.
For me, because I don't tend to watch trailers too much either.
So I stay away from all Pixar films because I know I'll love them and I'll watch them at some point. And I stay away from Tarantino kind of because something could always be a spoiler, and I don't want the film spoiled.
I won't say anything more about it then. But so from what I've already said to you in the last couple of weeks by accident, because I didn't know you'd not seen the trailer.
Two handsome fellas in a movie, and it's Quentin Tarantino. I think it's longer than Avengers Endgame, so it's 3 hours and a bit. I remember reading the title. Someone put up an article saying it's longer than Avengers Endgame. And I think the critical response so far coming out is everyone's saying it's amazing. Everything is incredible.
Rotten Tomatoes since I last checked.
So it can only go down, but it looks great.
I mean, it's come out in the US already. Oh no, it's coming out
this weekend because it's Lion King second weekend. Yeah.
In the UK, we have to wait a couple of weeks for it. A couple more weeks.
Oh man, if only we could fly out to the US, watch the film, and then back.
Or find some other way to watch it. But no, I'm going to wait for the cinema in the UK 2 weeks.
Maybe they'll get it released in Europe quicker. Maybe just drive down there.
Yeah.
Because we're still part of the EU, political.
Yeah,
until we don't get kicked out, we can still go to the European countries.
I did prepare a list just so I could check it. So we've got France is the same as UK, Belgium's the same.
That's too far.
Poland is to go to for the 9th of August instead of the 14th.
Ooh, a week early, yeah.
Hungary, 8th of August.
Getting closer.
possible. It's possible. Well, anywhere else you're looking at going to India?
It's too far.
Or China, it come out first, which is strange.
No, The Lion King came out in China first as well.
Okay.
So they are, because China's a huge market now for worldwide cinema going. And some films are making a ridiculous amount of money down there. So they try and do same time release, or they try and release it in China first.
Yeah. Otherwise,
they'll get that market.
Otherwise, they might just rip it off to watch it first.
Yeah. Might do.
It. No offense to anyone Chinese, I was just saying.
Or Asia.
Yeah, so are you looking forward to this movie? Yes.
Yes,
am I?
definitely.
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing Los Angeles. I don't think that's too much of a giveaway either.
He's a stuntman, so I imagine,
looks like Los Angeles. It looks like an actor and a stuntman, and the rest you're leaving as a surprise. But there's not much more information about it, really.
I mean, you got beautiful men in a film directed by Quentin Tarantino. Hopefully, one of them gets naked. Well, if Jamie Foxx, if he did what he did, we're a treat.
Are we hoping to see a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are both hanging upside down?
You know what? What I reckon there'll be a shirtless scene, right? There must be a shirtless scene. Because Brad Pitt was in Uma and Thurman, and it's his first film, and his first shot is him topless.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's such a good-looking man. I'm sure.
Brad Pitt.
I mean, if you look like that, I mean, if you look like him or LL Cool J, you should never be wearing a top. It's just you're just too good looking. I imagine there'll be, I guess, if he's a stunt double, there might be like a scene where, again, this is just speculation, where Leo's acting and then they say cut, and then Brad comes in and they zoom into his unbuttoning of the shirt, so it's just his body replacing Leo's, and
same as when Wonder Woman walks in. It's like,
it's
Brad Pitt naked.
And then he can move his abs to the music. Amazing.
Little dance. Yeah.
We're writing this film for you, Quentin, even though it's in the can and it's been released.
So
definitely looking forward to it. And there's talk about his 10th movie being the last film. Is that something in your notes?
That is something that's fairly well known. Yeah, but still, it's possible. The thing is, he's had discussions about doing another Django and doing another Kill Bill.
Yeah, I was reading today as well about Kill Bill. Yeah,
so he's got 3 on the back burner already. So I think he'll go for at least 10, and then he'll carry on. But he might want to make himself more limited. It's more notorious for having, or noted for having those 10 exact films. But I think he needs to do more. We want to see more.
I don't know. I think sometimes like Brian De Palma, Michael Mann, the 2 great directors who did good films up to a certain point, and then because like Michael Mann had Collateral, and I think, in my opinion, that's his last great film. And then he did Miami Vice, which wasn't that good. He did Black Hat, which wasn't that good. And he's done movies since, and they've never been the same. And I think Brian De Palma, Mission Impossible may have been his last great film. And then he's had Snake Eyes. He's had that film with Antonio Banderas. He's had so many kind of misses. He had a film that got to Sundance Film Festival this year again, and it was supposed to be him going back to kind of the thrillers, the kind of crime dramas known from stuff like Carlito's Way. Is that De Palma? But anyway, that kind of genre again. And yet he couldn't produce that kind of level anymore. And I think Spielberg had so many great films and then had a bunch of bad films, but now he doesn't make the sci-fi epics. He's making more the kind of dramas, and he's making them kind of like Bridge of Spies and things like that. So he's kind of like moved away, because I think he gets more criticism for his old sci-fi adventure films that people are like, oh yeah, they're not as good And so he's kind of gone, okay, look, I can't make those kind of films anymore. Let me make these smaller kind of Oscar bait films. And then critics will like them. And intentionally, I think it's better for Quentin to leave the game while he's on top instead of kind of prolonging your career and making bad films.
I do know what you mean, but I mean, maybe he can pull it off though, because he's always made his own films and he's always done what he's wanted, and they've always been a bit up and down in some ways because he has always just followed his design. He doesn't do things for other people. So, I mean, I personally I would love to see a Django sequel because I think they've set up the character, spent the whole movie setting up the character. So I think it does deserve a sequel. Kill Bill, I don't know if it needs one. But
I think it's more because of the girl, because she kills the mum and then she tells the girl, when you grow up and you get to a certain age, come and find me.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I can see that as a comic book. I can see that as a small kind of TV show. I don't see that. It doesn't need the movie experience for it because we know that the girl's just going to grow up, get trained, and fight the bride. That's kind of all there is to it. But I think if he can take sci-fi, something he hasn't done so far, and take that genre and do something special, I would like to see him take on a Star Trek.
Yeah,
I know there's talk about him doing a comic book film or kind of superhero film, but
Zorro.
But I personally would definitely love to see him take a proven property, that's something that he loved growing up, and take it to maybe the next level, or just do something completely different in science fiction, which we haven't seen before.
I mean, that's the danger of taking on Star Trek, is that he does things so differently that maybe it will be too different to even call Star Trek. You know what I mean? He changes everything that he does, everything he touches. He makes something completely brand new out of it. So he takes the Western genre, he completely transforms it and makes it something something amazing, really. And I think he can do that for sci-fi, but I think he can transform it. But would it really be Star Trek after that? I really want to see it though. Absolutely.
I think he could. I think we've had a lot of sci-fi films beat by J.J. Abrams doing the original Star Trek, doing Star Wars. I had Gareth Edwards. You got all these other people who've done these kind of genre films for Star Wars, Star Trek, or anything. I think why not give him a chance to do? And if he takes it in a completely different direction and he does a soft reboot of the franchise or whatever, just kind of give him the reign. Give him a small budget and say, look, you have to make it within this much. See what he does. Because what I liked about number 3 was Star Trek 3, that is. It was all the characters got their own kind of screen time, but they all kind of buddied up together. So you had Spock's and Bones, and they had a nice little buddy story going on. You had Simon Pegg. He had his story as well, and with Chris Pine. And you had other, and I think that's what he does so well, that he can bring that intimate level. Because there's a number of main actors in Star Trek. You have Zulu, you have Spock, Bones, but he can give them that next level of dialogue, story, background, all that kind of cool stuff that we want to see. That really worked in number 3, and then
chat about cheeseburgers.
And then just say, you know what, we will CGI the big battles. Tell us how you want it. Tell us how you want it shot, and we green screen it with you. And then we'll fill in the blanks.
Would he do that though? Because he's not a big fan of CGI. He's all about physical.
I mean, some of it would have to be. You can build a practical Enterprise, and you can fly it around on planet Earth, but it won't have the same feel as if it's flying around in space. At some point, you'd have to put some form of CGI in. It can't all be practical effects. Something would have to be.
Hubble telescope.
Yeah, maybe.
No CGI whatsoever.
Or maybe they just they never show us any shots of the Enterprise, and somehow he makes a whole film about.
Maybe we don't see space at all in the whole movie.
I mean, if he's only doing one more film, my preference would be to do a complete different genre that he's not touched before.
I think he would touch CGI if he had to.
I think he has to if he's doing
that. I think he'd get the right friends and the right people around him that can get Rodriguez in, who can do a bit of CGI and good editing and stuff.
Don't get Rodriguez in.
Yeah.
Just tell Rodriguez no more. He's another person who's tainted his career, in my opinion. Like, he had, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and I think, he's Tarantino's stolen the title for his film. But, he had those films. The first Sin City, maybe. I always thought he made the Predators film, but he only produced it. So he's not had a good film in so long. And he's made
Predators was rubbish anyway.
Predators was no Shane. Yeah. Are you talking Shane Black? Or are you talking?
We'll always argue about this. I think
Predators. No, Predators is great.
Awful
film. And he didn't even direct
waste
it.
Of time. It's just a soundtrack, but over nothing. It's just.
I think you don't remember the film as well as I do. And
I do. I saw it and I hated it the first time I saw it. I was bored.
We watched it and we loved it, and we always say how great it is. It's one of the best. And anyway, so yeah, Robert Rodriguez, like Machete, the first one was good. But then when he followed it up, he did a really bad sequel. I don't think you shouldn't work with him. And Alita was average, right? It was fine.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I think Star Trek. Tarantino, Star Trek.
He did get him into using digital photography, and with Sin City.
Yes.
So he's the one to push him in the direction of technology. If anyone's going to do it, it might be him. But there we go. Okay, so I have a game for you in a minute.
Yes, I'm ready.
Well, also something I haven't cut. We didn't really go through all the films other people have been in. All the people that Tarantino has used, like other things they've been in. I noted a few of them, but I just thought this one right at the end here. Dakota Fanning is in this one movie coming up. Do you know her at all?
Yes, I do. She was in a film with Robert De Niro. I think it's called. I can't remember the name, but she's been in a lot of films. That little girl, Man on Fire. Know them all,
so yeah.
She's in Man on Fire.
But I thought this one was interesting because you're a big Lilo and Stitch fan.
I love Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, yes. she played Lilo in the second movie.
Did she? Oh my gosh!
So the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch 2 straight to video.
Stitch in Time.
It's going to be Stitch. Yes, and she's going to be in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah. Margot Robbie
was in Equalizer as well. Yeah.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, in the Denzel Washington film.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that. Margot Robbie. That's the most interesting one for you, but I've got a few. Okay. Margot Robbie, most well known for her part in Family Guy: The Quest for Stuff, the video game.
I think she's best known for the film Big Short, where basically Adam McKay, comedy director, did loads of stuff like Anchorman. And in the Big Short, they explain how they undersold the housing and how the housing market. And what he did, and this is why it's best known, because everyone always talks about her scene. She sat in a bathtub with bubbles, naked, just sitting in bubbles. Okay. And she explains to us what the whole concept of Big Short is.
Yes. I think
and that's what she's best known for.
In a bubble bath.
In a bubble bath for all of those people.
Who's going to sit there and listen to that unless you're sitting there in a bubble bath? I guess.
I remember watching the film and it's just like, I don't get it. Put Jamie Foxx in there and I'd be so into this.
Yeah. Okay, Donna Guerrero as well, who played Minnie Mink, who's the lady she's the big lady in the flashback in Hateful Eight. So she's the one that owns the hut, I think.
Okay.
She played a part in Detroit Become Human, the video game.
Video game that I have refused to play. Sure.
You haven't played it yet?
I've taken a stance. Until they don't give me Pro Evolution Soccer, I have not played the game. I've emailed and I've direct messaged PlayStation.
Michael Madsen?
Yes, I know him from Free Willy.
Yes, also from Grand Theft Auto 3, Tom Cipriani. And also he played Tanner, the main character of Driver 3.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
We used to play Driver a lot.
Yeah? We played it together.
Yeah. I was rubbish at it. I remember we'd have to drive to the first place, then you come out of the car and you have to shoot your way through. I couldn't get to the first place. I just remember it being so hard to play.
It was a bit of a hard. hard game back in the day. I'm sure I've got some others here as well. Oh yes, of course, Kurt Russell.
Yes, I know
Best
him
known
well.
for the voice of Copper in The Fox and the Hound by Disney.
Wow, I did not know that.
He played the dog in The Fox and the Hound, or the Hound.
The Hound, yes. It's one of two. He's either the fox or he's the hound. But if you said dog, I would assume he's the fox.
Yeah, of course. Who else have I got here? Pam Grier.
Yes,
Pam Grier. She was in Escape from LA and some other films. But also Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, okay. I like GTA 5.
She's a DJ on the Lowdown radio station. So she's the main DJ on one of the radio channels. So she's in GTA 5. Just trying to make it. We're bringing it back to animation.
Video games. GTA 5. So not only is it like the high-selling game of all time or whatever, it's just been they've released a new online DLC kind of new casino thing. Yes, and I have to say, Rockstar, this is the model I prefer. You put up a good game, and it's finished, it's done, and then you have a free online mode which people can go away and do missions and all sorts of stuff. And people keep coming back, and I think that's the model I prefer than companies like Bungie, where they give you like Destiny 2, and then they say, oh yeah, by the way, you have to buy this other complete game called our DLC, another DLC, and you end up spending like £100 to get every single DLC. While a company like Rockstar has maybe the biggest selling game of all time and just makes it so it's a game, it's complete. This is it.
It is complete, and they just add more onto it. True.
I know, it's incredible.
They made so much money with the sales straight away that they can afford to just make free DLC.
And they're still making revenue from the online.
But they're still making money from it. And I saw someone complaining about the casino that it's making kids gamble or trying to take more money. But the game already takes money away from you. Every time they release...
they do that.
Every time they release something else big, it costs a huge amount of in-game money. And either you have it because you've worked really hard at the game, or people that are lazy will just buy it. So, it's no worse than it already is. Samuel L. Jackson was in... Okay, you can guess the video game for this one, maybe. Except you never played the game, because even though I've encouraged you to for so long. What
it's video game? It's going to be Grand Theft Auto 3?
San Andreas.
San Andreas. Oh,
yeah,
so close.
I mean, anyone that's played the game knows he's in there. He's Officer Tenpenny.
Well, to be fair, if Samuel L. Jackson's in it, I'll have to play it now.
Yeah, get on with it. John Travolta.
Okay, he's
not a video game, I'm afraid, but the best known for playing Bolt.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Disney's Bolt. Yeah, he plays the dog. Yes.
Yeah, I know that. Animation.
And he voices a little baby boy in Look Who's Talking. No, he doesn't. He just played it alongside him. Got upstaged by a baby, talking baby.
True.
And then the dog.
Yes. I think that's all I've got for video game related stuff. I've tried to. I don't know if we got time to play a game, or do you want to move on to the things? Okay,
we've got time.
Okay, we've got time. Okay, so Quentin Tarantino,
yes,
is one of the hallmarks of his movies is some of the amount of language that he uses in movies.
Okay.
And someone went away and counted all the swear words and compared them along all of the movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, what they've done is they've divided it by the usage, so it's not like exact whole numbers. But I was thinking that we've got these classifications. There's ass, shit, fuck, dick. Sorry about the language. Damn, bastard, and then unspeakables, and that's split into gender unspeakables or race unspeakables, which means I don't have to say those unspeakable words either, which is fine. That's right. Okay. They did this for 7 movies, 8 movies, because they did Volume 1, Volume 2, and then up to Django, so they didn't do Hateful Eight.
Okay. Mine's Hateful Eight, yeah.
So I thought maybe you could try and get through one of those categories from one way or the other and do higher or lower, and see if you can get all the way through. So you can pick the category: ass, shit, fuck, dick, damn, bastard, gender,
so
race.
Take the F word, right?
Right. Okay, we've got F. So
because that's the easiest word. So so we start with Reservoir Dogs.
I'm going to start at the beginning. Okay, so you don't have to say anything. This has had, according to them, I think it's been divided by 5. I worked it out for this one, but their rating for it is 64. So higher or lower for Pulp Fiction?
Oh, I think lower.
57. You're right.
Yes.
Excellent. Well done. Now Jackie Brown.
See, Jackie Brown has a lot of other words in here, but in terms of F words, I think it's lower.
You're right. 38. Yes. It is lower. Oh, you're doing good. Okay, Kill Bill Volume 1.
Oh, does Uma Thurman say a lot of swearing in this? I think this is, again, lower. I think the talking's in the next film.
You're right. It's 30. Lower. Ding.
Ding. And Volume 2, higher?
Higher, 35. Excellent.
Because there's more talking in that one. What comes next? What's the next film in the list?
Next one is Inglorious Basterds. So I guess
so
they didn't
not Death Proof. Okay.
Okay. So that is 7.
Higher. That's definitely higher.
Higher. It's only higher by 1. 36. Ding.
Oh wow. Not a lot.
Technically is probably 5. Yeah. And then finally
Django is definitely higher. There's a lot used by everyone.
According to this, the F word is lower.
Oh, it must have been all the others used words. Oh my god!
It's just the unspeakables, I think, probably.
Ah.
So you failed. I'm sorry, but it's okay. You get another chance. You pick another category. You get another go.
Let's go unspeakable race words.
Unspeakable race words. Okay, from Reservoir Dogs onwards again.
Okay, so higher because Samuel Jackson is in this film.
Okay, so Reservoir Dogs, straight away, it's 1.7 for race.
Yep.
I don't know.
It must be higher in Pulp Fiction.
Yes. Ding! Good. Now, Jackie Brown?
Higher, because I think he had a bigger role in this.
Yes, 10.6. A lot of race words in that one.
Uma Thurman and Lucy Liu, I don't think swore racially in the film, so I say lower.
True, 0.0. Ding!
Now the next film, Volume 2 has a lot of chat, but do they ever use? I say it's the same.
Before you answer though,
higher.
Just take it's a
higher because it's 0, right? It's higher. Even one use.
4.3, so it has got some in there.
Ah, it must be she fought against a black girl.
Who knows? I cannot remember any racial words, but maybe it was something else in the bar or something like that. I'm not sure. Okay, Inglorious Basterds, higher or lower than 4.3?
Oh, higher.
Ding, 10.3.
Yes.
Means you've just got Django Unchained.
That's got to be higher, right? This had Samuel L. Jamie Foxx had Leo.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Yes.
3.5. A new high for racial swearing in a film. It's probably a record.
Because I think Leo. I think it's because it's set in that timeline where everyone used to say it, and then in the film he just put it everywhere.
Which one? Django, yeah.
Django, yeah.
I mean, it's the whole slavery, Deep South thing. It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't escape. And yeah, you're right. Jackie Brown had a high one as well because of its setting. So, yeah, well done. You won the game.
Yes, I did it.
You had. I was about to give you a third chance, but you've done it. You've done it once.
I did it. I know the race card.
You want to have another one, or are you happy with the win?
So what were the choices again? So we've gone through the F word. We've gone through the racial slurs.
You can decide. It's either ass, shit, dick, damn, bastard, gender unspeakables, and yeah, we'll call it that.
I guess gender unspeakables is next. Let's go for that one.
You want to try that one? Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got Reservoir Dogs 4.3. What do you think? Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction's higher.
3.4.
Oh no!
You've lost already.
I've lost already. Yeah. I'm quitting while I'm ahead. I'll take my trophy and I'll go home.
Yes. Let's pretend that round didn't happen. You won.
I won.
1 out of 2. That's ahead. 50% is a win, right?
It is a win.
5, you always round up, right? That's the way it works in maths, so it's fine. 0.5.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Should we
okay,
do our segment time?
Yes, let's do segments. Yeah.
Okay, so in our segment, as always, you said earlier, we do My Guy quick reviews. Talk about stuff we've seen, read, watched, listened to, whatever it is. So what you been up to?
Or me? I haven't got to the cinema again this week because I've.
So you didn't watch Lion King?
Like I said, I was going to wait for a week for that anyway because I want it to be quieter. Okay. So I do have to wait till next weekend, but then I will see it. My friend saw it and he said it was good, but then he liked Jungle Book as well, so
idiot.
I can't really say.
You can't say.
Or not. I did ask him, is it scary or is it fun? And he said it's good, but then scary near the end. So that's to be expected with Lion King.
Yeah, that was quite scary. Hyenas bit at the end.
But he didn't say fun, so I don't know if I like it. I think your prediction might be right. But I did have a go on some games. I had a look at that Casino. We might as well talk. We talked about that. The Casino DLC for GTA 5. For me, it was just basically another DLC. It tries to sell you a big luxury apartment, which costs loads of money, as usual, which then gives you access to other gambling. But the rest of the gambling is just sort of, you just wander around a gambling hall and you can play a bit of gambling games. There's not much to it really. It's okay. I think GTA 5 is kind of dead in the water, but it just keeps on dragging itself along with new stuff. But yeah, if you like playing a bit of gambling, maybe with friends or doing the horse racing, that's quite interesting. You can do that against other players as well. They'll bid against a main event horse race.
Yeah.
But it's not like real horse racing. It's just like going to the fair. If you go to an arcade.
And you just throw the balls yourself, yeah.
You put the money in on the horse racing one, and it just literally just randomizes. And one always goes ahead, and you go, yes, mine's going ahead, and then it falls behind, and you lose. And you go, yes, yeah, thanks, every time. So, yeah, if you like that sort of thing, it's fine. But it's got a whole load of extra missions coming with it as well, if you buy into it. But I don't know. If you're into those getting more missions for your money, then obviously it's good that they're still supporting the game, still trying to keep interest with it. But obviously they're interested in also making money from it. So
exactly. And it's still got a lot of people online, right? It's the community's not died down yet.
It is huge, yeah. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 has got an online version, but I haven't played it since launch, and on launch it wasn't that big a deal. It wasn't that interesting. It had a very short lifespan, so I think they're going to work on it on the DL. I think they're going to work on the online aspect for Red Dead Redemption 2 to make it bigger. But I think also GTA 5 is still the one that's got all the players, because it was the best-selling game or piece of media of all time. So of course, it's still got all the players. So yeah. Other thing I had a quick go at was Hotline Miami, which is a bit old now. It's quite an old game now. There's already a sequel. It's very old, but I finally had a go of it. It's quite fun.
You just sold it. That's quite fun.
Yeah. Well, it's a top-down pixelated sort of shooter.
Yeah.
It's very 80s vibe.
Oh, cool.
But it's also each stage is very much you die and you just get to restart straight away. So the idea is it's quite easy to die, but you just keep going at it and trying to get through. So it's a bit of a puzzler in that way, but also a bit of an action, because you have to work out which way you're going to do it and just go at it. It gives you different ways to go about it. You can either pick up a bat or you can be better with a gun. So it's quite interesting in that way. Yeah, I'm not going to recommend or slate it really, so either your thing or not.
I think we should now. We should just be definitive. We either think it's fresh or we think it's rotten. There's no in between.
It's an old game, and I've only played a little bit of it, so it's a bit unfair. But
from next week, everything is either fresh or rotten. We can't do this like, I don't know. We either like it or we don't. It's got to be. We got to be cutthroat, straight down the middle.
Right. Well, I can say that I think I will replay it to keep on trying to get through it. It did keep me motivated a little bit to play through it. But at the same time,
thumbs up.
But at the same time, with the difficulty, if I start dying too fast and too much, I might just be like, give up. So
it's a no. It's a no from me.
It's a get it if it's cheap. If it's on offer, I got it when it was on offer, so I got it for like £1. So yeah. What have you been up to this week?
So I finished watching Hereditary. So you watched Midsummer a couple of weeks back. The director of that,
I haven't seen Hereditary.
This is his directorial debut. The film is fine. So this is the same thing happened with Midsummer. So all these critics are talking about it's the greatest horror film ever made, like The Witch. It's the best thing ever. It came out and then audience rating was like a D. While it was fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, everyone's giving it all the big. It's incredible, but the audience didn't like it, and it had like a huge drop in the second weekend. Yeah. So I went away and watched it. The main female lead in this, I think it's Colette. She is so good. She is really good in this. She's an incredible actress. Anyway, if you see her in stuff, you're just like, she's amazing. Yeah. Gabrielle Burns plays the dad or the husband, and then there's a brother and sister, and it's a family story about something that happens. Don't want to spoil it because you can still watch it yourselves.
Bit of a horror.
And it has that kind of like, but it's firmly a family story and kind of dealing with death. So spoiler, but her mum passes away, and it's about kind of like dealing with that. But then there is the horror element to it as well. So if this wasn't a horror film, it could just be about grief and how they kind of handle grief and stuff. But there is a kind of like another layer to it where it is about horror. Now, if you're going to go in watching this film thinking, like standard current horror films are my thing, and I love that, this is not for you. If you kind of want to see a film, and if you enjoyed Midsummer or kind of those kind of films, like if you thought Witch was great, this is more for you. So for me, based on my new kind of has to be fresh or rotten,
has to be.
And there's no in between, even if I think it needs to fit in between. For me, this film is, I hate to say it, but this was rotten for me. I didn't enjoy it. And this brings me to
think you won't like Midsummer?
I don't think I will. I think because there's no in between, and I can't say there's no middle ground. I have to say it's one or the other. I'm not going to sit on the fence anymore. I'm just going to pick one. So to me,
say get off the fence and destroy the fence.
That's what I'm doing. I'm taking it down. I've said it's rotten. And this brings me to my next film, a film produced by J.J. Abrams. And when it first came out, there's talk about could this be part of the Cloverfield world? Because there's Cloverfield 10, and then kind of anything he works on, they're always like, it's Cloverfield, but it's not. It's called Overlord, and it's like it's a horror. When I say horror film, it is kind of a horror film based in kind of World War times. So there's these troops that land in, I can't remember what town or what village it is, but then they see all these Nazi experimentations and things that are happening to people, and it's based on that. And this to me was the same as kind of Midsummer's, and all of that. Critics were like, it's such a good film, it's incredible. And again, the audience response was really bad. And I have to say, based on the 2 ratings, again, this is rotten for me. I can't
agree with the audience. I mean,
I sat and watched the whole film. I at least gave the film its 2s. I did sit there.
Yeah. I mean, from those last 2 reviews, you've just sold them both to me. I think I'm going to enjoy both of them.
You're not.
I'm just like, wow, they sound really good now.
They sound really good.
Something else other than horror, but they're supposed to be horror. People get disappointed. It just sounds like my sort of film.
I think
what Midsommar was like. It was actually about people and humans, and
I think you like Hereditary because it's more of a. If you really think about it, it's just a family kind of going through the stages of kind of things. But Overlord, I'll be surprised for you to come out and say, you know what, I thought that's one of the best horror films I've seen in years. If
so
you come out thinking that, then you
know.
think Predators is a masterpiece. Predators is much better than this.
Predators is a masterpiece.
It's incredible.
Never.
We both agree it's the best film ever made. I've also, anyone who's got Amazon Prime will notice Community's on there. And I know Community had, I think there's 5 seasons that were TV show that were on TV, and season 6 was on Yahoo. So Yahoo tried to do a streaming service as well, which failed, and they purchased the Community stuff. And the reason why I talk about Community is because obviously the Russo brothers started off in Community and then since went on to do the Avengers Endgame film, the Avengers stuff. So I've seen Community before, but I haven't seen the last season. So I'm starting to watch. I watched the first episode. It's not as good because Donald Glover's gone. John Cleese is gone. Not John Cleese. Chevy Chase is gone. So, they've lost some actors around. But it's still fine. And I think the season's not that long, so I'll soldier through.
They've lost some of the main actors. That's a shame.
Yeah. Up until season 5, it's fresh. And then so far season 6 is rotten because the first step, because I can't say it's good, but it's not great, so it's bad then based on my rating system that I've just created. I don't think Yahoo gave them the money, and then they've lost a lot of key characters and they're putting new ones in, and it might pay off as the season goes in. Maybe they're trying to build up a new season. They're trying to build up a whole new show. Yeah, it's like Scrubs in the final season where the main people had left. When I say main, Zach Braff had left, and then they just got new characters in, and they tried to change Scrubs into be more of a kind of academic school, and they were going to teach these guys, and it wasn't that good.
It's not the same. It's all about the characters for those movies, those series. You can't just get rid of the main characters. It doesn't work.
Exactly. And then I've been watching a lot of the stuff from Comic-Con. We'll do a separate episode and we'll talk about all the Marvel kind of announcements that happened. But it's super exciting. A whole episode for that? Yeah, because I think when we talk about Marvel, yes, we'll do that coming up soon. So once this drops, this one will be available on Monday. We'll try and squeeze one in for Thursday. So wherever you get your Monday episode from, look out for this one on the Thursday, and we'll talk Comic-Con, because in that we can then talk Marvel. We can also talk about some of the other films that were released as well that you haven't seen trailers for, but we can speculate about all the Marvel stuff that Kevin Feige has announced. That'd be quite cool.
You could do a whole week's worth of episode on that.
I think one episode will be enough. You don't need to dedicate it more than that.
You know how
Yeah, because they've announced actors, they've announced this whole slate, so there's a lot.
Yeah, it's true. I have heard slightly about this. But there is so much coming, isn't there? So much. And all new characters, not new to the Marvel universe, but to the cinematic universe.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll do a separate one. So that's what I've been kind of keeping up with. And I think did I watch another film? I'm trying to think, because I've just been finishing the thing that I recommended last week about the anthology stuff, the Love, Death and Robots, or however I worded it last time. And I think I've only got a couple more left. So what my thing for you is now, you need to go away and watch them, because there's only 18 of them, and then we'll go through each one and we will say rotten or fresh. You can't sit on the fence. You can't say I liked it, but it's either you liked it or you hated it. And so they are very different. So I watched 2 episodes yesterday. One felt like, Borderlands, the video game.
Yes.
It had that kind of animation style to it.
Okay, cool.
And as you'll see them, they are very varied in kind of styles.
Yeah,
and it's just completely different studios or whatever's doing it. But it's amazing. So we'll dedicate one episode just talking about all 18 episodes. They're not that long anyway. They're quite short. So I guess if you press play, you might see them in 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. You've seen the whole season. It's not that long.
I can do that. They're short, so
yeah. And that's it. That's all I've been up to this week.
Okay, well done. Good job. I did watch Death. No. What did I watch? I watched Jackie Brown. But obviously we already talked about that. I rewatched that because I always forget the order of things and what happened. I was very surprised to see that it starts with Samuel L. Jackson doing his stuff, because I thought it started with Jackie Brown.
I just remember the Chris Tucker bit. I think that's at the start.
Yeah,
and
you like comedians.
I do. I liked him.
I had a feeling you would know Chris Tucker. That's it. So yeah, Chris Tucker.
Because he came from Friday as well, so he did Friday and then he did this film. So at that point, Chris Tucker was kind of like on the upward kind of.
He was in the limelight at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then Rush Hour, and then.
Yeah, I did hope to watch some more, but I was just being so. The heat is been bad for me, so.
One recommendation for Chris Tucker. On Netflix, there's a Chris Tucker stand-up. Watch the whole thing. Most of it you might not like, but there's this incredible bit he does with. If anyone knows, he did a song. He did a song with Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
And he does a whole maybe 5 minutes story about him and Michael, which is so funny. Like if there's a way, and if anyone knows when that starts, I'd say watch the Chris Tucker thing. Yeah. Watch that bit. If you've enjoyed it up until that point, then stick with it. But definitely try and catch just that Michael Jackson bit, because it's so funny.
Michael Jackson, yeah. Why do I know about that? You must have told me before.
Because you've seen the music video with Chris Tucker. Maybe that's what it was. But watch it. It's hilarious. I thought it was really funny. And he does a little dance and he talks like him. He's so good. Like, that's the only time I've actually rated him. I thought, wow, you're actually really good.
Okay. And you said you were going to rewatch one of Tarantino's movies, didn't you? Was that Jackie Brown with Chris Tucker?
Yeah, I need to watch that again because I've seen it so long ago.
Yeah.
I just can't remember it. Yeah, because you've just banged on about how great it is. I'll have to watch it. And it's got Samuel L. Jackson, so hey, I'll have to watch it.
You'll like the bit with Chris Tucker, then you'll be like, oh, he's dead now.
Yeah, I love that bit. I always remember he gets into, because Chris Tucker in Fifth Element and all these films, he has that annoying voice.
Oh yeah.
And then when he puts him in the boot and he shoots him, I'm like, yes, yes. But well, the stand-up is really good. Just watch that bit.
Get him out of his misery.
So two things for you to watch next week is this 5-minute segment of a Chris Tucker stand-up.
Yes.
And maybe not next week after, when we talk about Love, Death, and Robots, we'll do the episodes.
Okay. Love, Death, and Robots, yeah.
Yeah. On Netflix.
Netflix, good.
A previews, the things that we're going to be doing this week coming.
Yeah.
Big one for this weekend. Anyone who's got Amazon Prime will know The Boys is out. Based on a comic book about people who basically they're a bunch of, I don't want to call them superheroes because they're the ones who basically keep the superheroes in check. The boys do. Right. And so when superheroes act out and stuff, the boys come in and they take care of them. Now I know it's called The Boys, but there are they're the ones who look after everything. And there are female characters in this. It's got Carl Urban as well in the TV show. Most people remember him from that incredible film Dread 3D.
Okay.
He plays one of the leads in this. Yeah, and he looks. I saw just the teaser because I've read the comic books. I don't want to watch anything because sometimes you love something, about it being adapted. You just don't want to watch. You just be like, I'll go in and watch it. But when they make Lord of the Rings, I'll just watch that because we love the films, we love the books. So however you guys do it, I'll watch it. You don't need to show me an advert. Just tell me when it's coming out. And this is one of that. So it's out July 26th. Super excited for The Boys.
Cool. Yeah, for me, I'm just waiting for this Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I had to wait for
2 more weeks.
3 more weeks, I think it is.
Yeah. Well, you could watch Lion King next week and tell us all about it.
August. Yes, I will probably forget. Or no, I wouldn't forget. I'll probably be too ill and come home from the heat. But yeah, I am planning on seeing that. I'm not looking forward to it now. I've given it high hopes, but my opinion of it keeps going up and down. But now I'm not sure if it's going to be very good. But I will go and see it just to know, because I've seen all of the Disney remakes so far.
You haven't you haven't seen Cinderella? We went through the list last week.
Cinderella. I didn't even know they existed. All the ones that I know exist, I've seen.
so many on that list. You hadn't seen 101 Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians, The Jungle Book. There's so many.
I've seen Jungle Book.
Yeah, but 1994 is The Jungle Book, the first live action.
Okay, that doesn't count. I've seen the recent ones that I know exist since Jungle Book. The recent one.
Okay, so should we wrap up with our where to contact us and stuff?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to do that? We've got the list of contacts.
So we have a Twitter account, myguy_reviews. We have an email account called myguyReviews@gmail.com. We have an Instagram now called myguyReviews. If you want to give us any subject topic lines, send it to that. Forthcoming episodes, we'll do a Comic-Con special. We'll look at doing Love, Death and Robots special, and we'll do the normal topic stuff as well. So so just keep it wherever you find this podcast, review it, give us 5 stars, and then just tell us why you don't like it. That'd be great. That'd be really helpful. So any feedback will be much appreciated. Thanks.
Keep it, my guy.
Bye.
Okay.